Hi guys, welcome to Maybe News. Today I've made you a video about 10 the weirdest or the most interesting archaeological discoveries. If you like this video, give it a thumb up and subscribe our channel. Let's get started. 10. Terracotta Warriors. When laborers digging a well in China in 1974 discovered a life-size statue of a soldier, they knew it was something special, but they had no idea what else lay below the surface. Archaeologists started excavating and currently think there are as many as 8,000 clay statues. Most are warriors, each with its own facial expression and weapons, and they also found horses and chariots. The project was created as a mausoleum for the first emperor of China, Queen Shi Huangdi, who took the throne in 246 before Christ. Queen is buried in a tomb at the site that hasn't yet been excavated because of concerns about its stability, but explorations around the edge of it have uncovered statues of dancers and acrobats. 9. Advanced Stone Age tools in India. More than 90% of modern humans descend from a small population of Homo sapiens that left Africa by about 600 years ago, according to the genetic evidence. Researchers think that group might have been so successful because they had developed superior stone tools, fine stone blades that could be used on the ends of spears, rather than bulky hand axes. But a recent find in southern India, where ancient human sites that have not been well studied, shows that people there had advanced tools more than 200,000 years ago. Whether that means that human ancestors left Africa in waves, or that different hominids came up with a similar innovation separately, is unknown, but I think it's intriguing. 8. Pet Cemetery. Peruvian anthropologist Sonia Guillen was excavating a 1,000-year-old cemetery south of Lima, but her team didn't find only humans. 43 dogs had been buried there by the people of the Chiribaya culture, which preceded the Inca Empire. The valued pets, which were used for herding llamas, had separate plots near the human owners, and many were buried with trees and blankets. Because the desert climate preserved the bodies of the dogs, Gillen could see how similar they looked to a popular modern breed called the Chiribaya Shepherd, and her team is now trying to prove a genetic lineage. 7. Neanderthal glue. For a long time it was believed that Neanderthals just weren't as intelligent or as advanced as Homo sapiens. But recent discoveries are turning that assumption on its head. In June 2019, archaeologists discovered evidence of Neanderthals using a primitive kind of glue on their tools. The find is between 55,000 and 40,000 years old, making this some of the oldest examples of adhesive being used to assemble human tools. The adhesive seems to have been made predominantly from pine resin, but it also occasionally contained beeswax. The resin was cooked to a high heat over a fire as part of the process of making an organic glue, which was used to coat a notch in a shaft of wood. A flint blade was then slotted into the notch and held in place. 6. Gobekli Tepe. More than 11,000 years ago, at the end of the Stone Age, hunter-gatherers had not yet settled down. However, this archaeological site in Turkey has cast doubt on the timeline, because it has large pillars with animal carvings, stone rings, and loads of rectangular rooms. It might be the oldest known architecture in the world, and many researchers think it may be a religious complex. 5. Venetian vampires. In 2006, the skeletal remains of a woman from the 16th century with a brick stuck in her jaw were discovered in Venice. Matteo Borini, an anthropologist from the University of Florence, said that the discovery on the small island of Lazzaretto Nuovo in the Venice lagoon supported the medieval belief that vampires were behind the spread of plagues like the Black Death. Borini said, "This is the first time that archaeology has succeeded in reconstructing the ritual of exorcism of a vampire. This helps to authenticate how the myth of vampires was born. While legends about blood-drinking ghouls date back thousands of years, the modern figure of the vampire was encapsulated in the Irish author Bram Stoker's 1897 novel Dracula, based on the 18th century Eastern European folk tales. 4. Volgograd discs. In the Volgograd region of Russia, a dozen disc-shaped stones containing a military-grade metal were discovered by UFO group during excavations. The group believed they came from aliens, but other scientific bodies thought they have developed from erosion. Earlier this year, another disc-shaped stone object was discovered in Russia by a coal mining company. The strange relic was found 40 meters underground, which suggests it is quite old. Archaeologists who examined the stone disc, which is perfectly circular with a diameter of 1.2 meters, stated that it was man-made. 3. The Nazca Lines in Peru. These massive sprawling representations of humans, animals and objects date back in some cases 2,500 years and are so large many of them can be only identified from the air. Previous hypotheses have suggested the Nazca Society shaped the giant geoglyphs, some measuring hundreds of meters long, to be seen by the deities in the sky, or that they may serve astronomical purposes. But now, the researchers think the larger type A geoglyphs, often shaped like animals, were ritual places where people held ceremonies that involved the destruction of various pottery vessels. 2. 78,000 years of human occupation. A network of caves in Kenya, called Pangaya Saidi, holds human artifacts from the Middle Stone Age straight through the modern times. Michael Petralia of the Max Planck Institute for the Science of Human History said that with more than 1,000 square feet of space in its main chamber, the cave could have housed hundreds of people, and its tropical forest location has enjoyed a relatively steady climate while other parts of Africa have endured droughts. His team found large stone tools from the earliest inhabitants. More specialized arrowheads and blades started appearing around 67,000 years ago. 1. Tiny human or alien? In 2003, a 6-inch tall skeleton with a pointed head was found naturally mummified in the Atacama Desert of Chile. Although many people have claimed that the skeleton, which had bone density characteristics of a 6-year-old despite its tiny size, scientists have since been able to sequence and study its DNA. Ata, as the female mummy is known, turned out to be a human being. She was most closely related to the indigenous Chileans, but also had some European ancestry. Researchers found 7 different mutations of her genes that are involved with growth, but they are not sure which caused her skeletal malformation. And that's all for today. Thanks guys for watching. If you have any ideas for the next video, you can write them in the comment section below. And see you in the next episode.